Welcome back to Arcade. I am Super Tommy. This is a series on creating a Sokoban or pushbox game in Phaser 3. Now, in the last part, we added a game finished or level finished screen and kept track of number of moves. So you can see that the move count goes up as we push boxes. Now, given that the point of Sokoban is to get all the boxes into the correct places in the least number of moves, those two things are important. So here's our level finished scene. And you see the text is not that great. So in this video, we are going to style this text using fonts from Google Fonts. So first what we're going to do is get the web font loader that we've got at Arcade. This is not the only way to load fonts, but it is our preferred way. So we can just go to blog.arcade.co, search for fonts, bring up the Use Google Fonts in Phaser 3 with Web Font Loader article, and you can read this if you want to know how it works, or you can just simply take this file, and we're just going to copy that and put it into our project. We're going to, let's make a folder called files, and this is web font file. So web font file dot ts. This is in JS, but we will just rejigger this for TS. And it's good. Okay. All right. It's TypeScript, so we are going to font names is going to be an array, and then private service is a string. Okay. We'll just set it. So this is good so far. This error is we don't have that. So we need to install Web Font Loader. So Web Font Loader is a project I think maintained by Google and Typekit. Yep. So we're going to install this with npm. You can also get it via the CDN. But if you do, then you won't import it like this. So let's npm install Web Font Loader. So we'll install that package. Great, that error is gone. Let's now rerun our web server. Everything should still be fine. There should be no errors in our code from adding this one file, but we'll just make sure. Okay, refresh. All right, so the game still works. There's no errors in the console. Looks good. Okay, so now we are going to also add a preload scene where we're going to preload our fonts. So we're going to come in here. Let's just make a new file. Call this preload.ts. We're going to import phaser from phaser. Export default class preload. Maybe preloader actually. Extends phaser.scene. Let's save that, and we're going to actually rename this preloader. Okay. And constructor, we are going to give this the key. And then in preload, let's preload some fonts. So let's import our web font file from files, web font file. Let's collapse this, fonts. So new web font file, we're going to pass it the loader, which is this.load, and then an array of fonts. So we will just load. You can search Google Fonts for this, but I just know some fonts offhand. We'll just call it Poppins. That is one of the fonts. And then this.load.file, add file, fonts. So that's the preloader. And then create. So after all the preloading has happened, what we're going to do is run the game scene. So start game, that we called it. No, we left it as hello world. So let's just rename this game. And this will start game. Now, last thing here, we got to go back to main. and import our preloader scene. Scenes preloader. Okay. So there was the little blip there. That was it loading the font. So you can, of course, make your preload scene a little bit more interesting. You can draw a load bar if you wanted to, but I think that's actually pretty quick. It's likely unnecessary. But do let me know in the comments below if you want to see an example of how you can do that, and we'll make a video for you. All right, so now we have that. Theoretically, Poppins is loaded. We can just test it real fast by changing our moves text here to Poppins. Here, so this is the text style config object, and it should be font family and Poppins. Let's see. So there we go. That actually is Poppins. It was different than that monospace font that was previously. And so that's Poppins. That's not exactly super interesting. Let's also get righteous. And so we'll go to level finished. And here we have font size. So let's do font family righteous. And then moves finish. We're going to use Poppins. All right, so let's finish a level and let's see how our level finished screen looks like. And boom. So there we go. Now that is much better. We can first change color as well. You can pass color in here. So let's just say we're going to make it, I don't know, your color picker. Let's Google color picker. There's something against black. Why not? Let's go with that. There's that. Color. Maybe terrible, I'm not actually sure. All right, let's see. Push all these boxes into place. Boom. Not bad at all. Okay, so we've got that. So now what we're going to do is add some buttons here. And so there's multiple ways of doing it. We're going to use the CSS framework method because it is the fastest and easiest way to do it. So in the blog, you can find an article. Look for buttons. So we have various types, custom buttons, but DOM elements button is one we're looking for so that we can use CSS frameworks for this. We also have, if you go to our YouTube channel, let's see, what is our channel? Go to our YouTube channel, you'll see we have some button videos. Let's play that. So we have, double jump, let's go to our videos. We've got 3 button videos. We've got this with Rex UI. You can use Rex UI for this. You can, what we're going to do is use BOMA for these buttons, or how to make your own custom button with a container. So we're just going to use BOMA, which is right here. BOMA, not the Dragon Ball Z character. So to get started with BOMA, let's see. Overview, customize, start. We need one CSS file. That's what I'm talking about. We don't care about fonts, so we're going to just get it from JS deliver. Let's go to our index.html page, drop in this CSS load, and then we will also use, we're going to use JSX for this just because it makes it so much easier. Oh, I guess I had instructions here too. JSX makes it so that you can just use normal HTML tags, and all the examples from BOMA and any CSS framework is going to use HTML tags. So we will need to do this. So let's just set up some of this config right out the bat here. So we have to put a container. So if we're using DOM elements, we simply need to give Phaser an actual DOM element to render into and make sure we say DOM create container is true. Okay, so now we need to install Jsx Dom, npm install Jsx Dom. That is an open source project that converts JSX syntax into normal DOM elements instead of a React component. So if you click this link, you'll get to the GitHub for Jsx Dom. And there it is. So we're just going to use it. So we're going to make a new file here called Jsx Dom shim. Now, because JSX is a React, that's the UI framework you may have heard of. It's a React concept. We need to shim it since the way JSX gets parsed, it expects React to exist, which of course we don't have React. We're not building a React app, so we don't have React. So let's see, where's the JSX shim class, which is just this. So all we do, it expects a global React. It expects React to exist in the global space. So we're just going to put it there and basically shim React with this. So you need that. So you add this file, and then you go into your index file and include it. Now, depending on your project setup, this may not exactly work the same way. Parcel will, for each script here, create a new entry point, as they call it, and so that's why this works. You may have to check with your application bundler or your web dev or your dev server to see exactly how this works. Although this should work, this should be the right approach in most cases, or it gives you a starting point to work from. So we got Jsx Dom in there. That's good. Now let's just run npm run start again. And let's make a folder here. I'm just going to call this folder UI. And let's call this button.jsx. And so we can do stuff like this, right? So we're just going to say const, I'm going to call this primary button, and it's going to be a function. So it's not exactly what we have there, but I'm going to return JSX, which is within the parentheses. And it's going to basically be this. So I'm just going to copy this. This is Bulma syntax, roughly. We're going to delete, maybe not call it syntax. This is the Bulma CSS classes that it uses to create buttons and other elements. So we're going to actually also call this text, and by default it will say play, and we don't actually need the span. And I believe this will work. And then we're going to export primary button. Okay. So now let's go to our level finished scene. And let's see, we're going to import from UI button, primary button. And I'm going to actually move this up a little bit and this up a little bit, and then do this.add.dom. Going to give it a position, which we'll just go with half, although we may change that because we're going to want 2 buttons. And then y is height.6, I think. And then now we want to give it the actual HTML element, which is what primary button is going to do. And then we can just say retry. Let's say, yeah. So we want okay. As HTML element button. So let's say retry. retry. Okay, we should at least see it. So just to make this a little bit faster for us, we're going to launch this scene first. Oh no, that's not how we do it. We're preloading. So in our preloader, we're just going to launch level finished, just so we can test out our fonts here. All right, let's refresh. And there's our button. Not bad, right? That's not bad. It's probably too big. Button.jsx is maybe is medium. You can check Bulma's docs for this, the various settings. I think his medium is probably right. Yeah. If you're using Bootstrap or UIKit or some other CSS framework, they'll be different. So here's this. So retry. Let's see. What am I doing? Level finished. So Dom. So now we need to add listener. And this is the native Dom event, and in our case, it's just click for a button, and then we get the normal phaser event emitter, and we're going to listen for this same event, although we're going to do once in this case, so that auto cleans up. Since a click only needs to happen once, and we're going to handle it, and what we're going to do is replay game. So this dot scene dot start game. Now let's see if this works. It does. Look at that. And then we should be sent back to level finished after this is over. And then we can do it again. Yep, that looks pretty good. All right. Boom. All right, so we added a new font in this video. Now we have some buttons here. We're going to call it for this video. In the next one, we're going to add another button for you to play the next level. So we're going to set up a bunch of levels, maybe just two, just to maybe three, just to show how this works. And so we'll be able to retry the level you just played and then play the next level in our series of levels. So be sure to come back for that.